Hey guys, this is part 2 of part 1 of the Five Nights at Freddy's history video. We're just gonna pick up where we left off, so yeah, enjoy.
For long. On November 2nd, 2015, we got possibly the creepiest FNAF teaser to this day. When you went on scottgames.com, it looked like there was nothing there, but when you brightened the dark image, what you saw was what appeared to be Mangle himself with the words, "Look what you've all done." The community was shocked by this teaser, to say the least. A lot of people were concerned about Scott's well-being after this teaser. Within an hour, the teaser was gone off of FNAFworld.com, and we still to this day have no idea how it connects to FNAF World. Scott Games then remained dark for nearly a month. Scott finally came back on November 29th with a new teaser. This teaser featured a weird version of Balloon Boy's head with the words "Madness takes many forms" at the bottom. It seemed like Scott wanted to show us that there was going to be a dark side to FNAF World, but initially maybe went too far. This teaser seemed to keep the same promise with a little course correction on exactly how dark he wanted to go. On December 11th, 2015, ScottGames.com updated with a teaser for the first ever FNAF book. Initially, it was titled Five Nights at Freddy's The Untold Story, but was later changed to The Silver Eyes and was given a release date of December 22nd, 2015. Of course, in true Scott Cawthon fashion, it was released 5 days early on December 17th, 2015. Shortly after the book was released, some people in the community were upset that the book did not directly align with the games. People thought that maybe this book would help solve some of the lore from the games, but Scott had different intentions. 3 days later, Scott announced that the FNAF books overall weren't directly canon to the official FNAF games. Basically, the book was a part of the FNAF multiverse, the same characters, same locations, but different turn of events. For the next month, we didn't really get much. On December 4th, we got a Merry Christmas FNAF World teaser, and then on New Year's Day 2016, we got an update from Scott on the progress of FNAF World, saying that he's still working hard and, quote, "It's becoming a bigger game than I'd first planned it to be, but that's a good thing." On January 8th, 2016, we got a second trailer for FNAF World that was only posted on IndieDB. The trailer was basically a copy of the first one, but it just added new gameplay shots. On January 12th, 2016, Scott took to Steam to give us an official release date for FNAF World. The game would be hitting Steam on February 19th, followed by the mobile ports in the following weeks. He also announced that he and his wife had just had a baby boy. Quote, "In other news, I had a new addition to my family today, a baby boy. I'm typing this from the hospital now, as a matter of fact, so obviously that has still kept me a little busy as well." Scott later updated the release date to the weekend of January 23rd to 24th, stating, "I won't make it to February 19th. Clear your schedules for this weekend, winky face." Then he said on January 21st, "The game will release tomorrow, guys. Relax." Then again, I've never been good with release dates. And he did exactly not that. He released the game that day, on January 21st. The game quickly started getting mixed reviews, with a lot of people finding bugs and noticing missing features that they thought would be there. People also didn't like that the overworld was in 2D and not 3D like the trailers insinuated. The game held an ironic 87% on Steam, which was overall very good, but there were a lot of negative reviews. Scott reacted very quickly to the mixed reactions, creating a post on Steam titled "To the Community." In the post, he talks about how people have accused him of releasing his games too early in the past, mentioning that he never felt he did that until now. He apologized for the state of FNAF World and promised to keep updating the game to turn it into what he envisioned. 3 days later, Scott announced that he was taking FNAF World off of Steam despite its 87% rating. He said that he's working on a new version of the game with a fully 3D world and all of the features he promised in the past. This time, the game would be released for free on GameJolt. This new version of the game would soon be released on February 8th, 2016 to GameJolt, just as promised. The game had a fully 3D world and even featured some new content, including a man sitting at a desk telling us to go away. On February 18th, 2016, FNAFworld.com and ScottGames.com updated with new teasers. The FNAFworld.com teaser announced a FNAF World Update 2, while ScottGames.com had lines. No words, nothing when you brighten the image, just 17 lines all in a row. Most of the community thought it was some sort of timeline. Some thought it was related to the FNAF movie, and some thought maybe, just maybe, we'd be getting FNAF 5. 8 days later, on February 26, one of the lines changed into the letter I, with an end scene above the lines to the left when the image was brightened. Still, no one had any idea what this meant. Obviously, it was trying to spell something out, but what? 2 weeks later, the lines were updated again. Another I with an A in the top right when brightened. Once again, it was spelling out something, but nobody could figure it out with so little letters. 11 days later, an O was added. 2 weeks after that, another O was added along with the word never at the bottom when brightened. The community was collectively confused until April 23rd, 2016, when the first official teaser for FNAF's sister location was posted. The teaser featured a brand new animatronic with the words "There was never just one" at the bottom. No one had any idea who this new animatronic was. All they knew was that it looked like a clown animatronic. This game looked like it was going to be a clean slate for FNAF, with new characters and a new location, and the community couldn't be more excited. On May 3rd, 2016, the release date for FNAF World Update 2 was announced on FNAFworld.com. The update was set to release on May 13th, 2016, and fans were hyped since that was only 10 days away. To everyone's surprise, the update actually came out on its set release date. The new update featured 8 new party members, 9 minigames, 2 new areas, a new ending, new abilities, and 3 enemies. The community loved this new update. The new minigames were fun, annoying, and creepy all at the same time. This was when we first met Chica's Magic Rainbow, Foxy.exe, and this.
You won't get tired? Oh no, I love your voice. Oh, no, that's not my editing, guys. I swear. It sounds like something I would do.
But one of the biggest parts of the update came from the man sitting at the desk that I mentioned earlier. After beating the main boss, we got to hear the voice of a new animatronic named Baby, which was presumed to be the animatronic currently on ScottGames.com.
The show will begin momentarily.
On May 11th, some of the mysteries about Sister Location were no longer mysteries. Magicraft Cat on Reddit found what seemed to be the names of all of the new characters that were going to be in Sister Location. The names were found under Scott's name on copyright.gov. When you copyright something, most of the time it becomes public information. So when Scott went to copyright his new characters, it wouldn't be long until fans found them. And they did. The community was disappointed and worried about the characters being leaked, but there was one person who wasn't. Scott Cawthon. Scott replied to the Reddit post with the leaks saying, "No worries guys, the characters needed to be copyrighted and I knew this would get out. Have fun speculating." On May 15th, someone asked Scott on Steam if there would be voice acting in Sister Location. He replied with, "Yes, there will be voice acting in Sister Location." 5 days later, on May 16, 2016, we got a new Sister Location teaser and our first good look at the newest animatronic, Baby. The teaser had text at the bottom that read, "Everyone please stay in your seats." I remember one of the big things about this teaser is that people thought they could see the reflection of Springtrap in Baby's nose, and I kind of still believe that to be the case. The FNAF hype was officially back. We were getting FNAF 5 with new characters, a new location, and according to Scott on Steam, the game would also feature full voice acting. FNAF was not going anywhere anytime soon. On May 21st, 2016, the Sister Location trailer hit YouTube, and it was unlike anything we were ever expecting. The trailer had an extremely futuristic vibe to it, and the animatronics' faces moved. The trailer showed us some glimpses of gameplay while you could hear "Don't Hold It Against Us" in the background. Towards the end of the trailer, we got the amazing shot of all 4 of the new animatronics performing together, and then it ended with a baby jump scare that we never actually got to see in the final game. The trailer blew everyone away, but also left people with a lot of questions. How does this fit into the lore? When does this game take place? Where does this game take place? Is it going to be free roam? What's the last 4 digits of your social security number? 1 month after the trailer, on June 17th, 2016, we got a new teaser on ScottGames.com. This time it featured a torn apart animatronic with a clown-like mask. This is an animatronic we had never seen before. Now that the names of the new characters were leaked, it was a guessing game for what its name was. It was either called Ennard, Bidybab, or Mini Rena, since those were the ones we haven't seen yet. Most people were speculating that this was Ennard based on the similarities of the words innard and Ennard. There was text at the bottom of the teaser that said, "There's a little of me in every body," with the space between every and body. In the source code, sometime around this image's release, we found what seemed to be a schedule for all of the animatronics, insinuating that these animatronics didn't belong to one single pizzeria, but were being rented out by people through this facility. We also found a short list of people and companies renting out these animatronics, one of them being named Chica's Party World. Chica's Party World is a place we have yet to see in the franchise and remains a mystery to this day. We also saw text that seemed to read Afton Robotics, which is a direct reference to the first FNAF book where the stand-in for Purple Guy was named William Afton. Was Scott really about to take a page out of his own book? On June 23rd, 2016, Scott announced that he had just signed a 3-book deal with Scholastic, one of the biggest publishers on the planet. Spoiler alert, Scholastic would go on to publish over 20 FNAF books and counting. I guess the first 3 ended up doing pretty well. Over 2 weeks later, on July 9th, 2016, we got another teaser on ScottGames.com. The Minions. I mean the Bidybabs. One of the common themes with the Sister Location teasers was that no one knew what the heck was going on. With all of the other teasers for past games, you were able to theorize more about the game, but these were so new that it was hard to find something to say about them. But these teasers were an amazing showcase of all the new characters we'd be seeing in the game, and Scott really did do a good job with them. Less than 2 weeks later, on July 21st, we got this teaser with the text, "Get back on your stage, now." The teaser had a panel at the center with 2 buttons, one to turn on the lights and the other to shock the animatronics into getting them back on stage, although the community didn't know that at the time. Some people speculated that the red button was going to regenerate or power up the animatronics, but we all know how that turned out.
Let's encourage Baby to cheer up with a controlled shock.
When the image was brightened, you could see tiny dancing ballerinas on stage, which the community correctly identified as the mini-renas. August 1st, 2016 was the day that the Steam page for Sister Location went live with brand new gameplay screenshots and a description of the game. Welcome to Circus Baby's Pizza World, where family fun and interactivity go beyond anything you've seen at those other pizza places. With cutting-edge animatronic entertainers that will knock your kids' socks off, as well as customized pizza catering, no party is complete without Circus Baby and the gang. Now hiring late-night technician must enjoy cramped spaces and be comfortable around active machinery, not responsible for death or dismemberment. Obviously, we were not going to be the people enjoying our birthday parties with Circus Baby. We were going to be the late-night technician, probably getting way underpaid for all the horrors that he was about to witness. Today is August 8th, 2016, and it's the 2-year anniversary of FNAF. Scott celebrated the anniversary by releasing 7 new images to scottgames.com. This time, it was behind-the-scenes images from FNAF 1 and FNAF 3. These images were such a treat for the community since Scott has never really shared something like this ever before. But a week later, another big Sister Location leak appeared on Reddit. On August 15th, people found what seemed to be a full list of voice actors and some actual audio clips from the game. These were some pretty big leaks, but Scott took the last leaks really well, so surely he'd be taking these ones pretty canceled due to leaks. On August 16th, the community collectively panicked until they brightened the image. If you brighten the image, you could see a ton of text talking about how there was a Circus Baby's Pizza World restaurant for a short period of time, but it was shut down due to gas leaks. This confirmed that the Funtime animatronics actually came from a restaurant and were being repurposed for the rental company. This also confirmed that something fishy happened at Circus Baby's Pizza World since it closed way too soon and for a reason like gas leaks that doesn't really warrant permanent closure. Scott collectively freaked everyone out for about 5 whole minutes since he was obviously messing around with the fact that there were leaks for his game a day prior. 11 days later, on August 27th, 2016, we got the official release date for Sister Location on scottgames.com. The new teaser featured Enner's mask with, when brightened up, the release date of October 7th, 2016. This teaser was replaced very shortly after with this one, showing the release date more clearly. But another big reveal lied within the source code of scottgames.com. In the source code, there were 2 strings of characters. If you put them together and then pasted them into the URL of Scott Games, you would be directed to the map for Sister Location. And then, if you brighten this secret image, you could see 2 secret rooms above and below the Funtime Auditorium. Scott really made us dig for this one. After these new teasers, scottgames.com wasn't updated for about a month. On September 24th, 2016, Ennard went missing. This is still one of the strangest teasers we've gotten on scottgames.com. My guess is that Scott wanted to remind people that the game was still coming out, but didn't have time to create a new teaser, but the real reason remains a mystery. This next moment is one of my all-time favorite moments in the whole entire FNAF history, so please buckle up. It was October 4th, 2016, 3 days before Sister Location's set release. An unexpected post from Scott Cawthon hit Steam.
Hey guys, I wanted to let everyone know what I've decided, and it's just a warning. A lot of you aren't going to be happy about it, but please try to understand. Ever since I started making games, I wanted to be a world builder. I never wanted to make gimmicky games or things that didn't mean something. I wanted to create experiences that would really have an impact on people. I feel like I got to do that with the first few games, but somehow I feel like I let myself get too dark with this one. Things went sideways, and I look at this game now and I'm unsure of how it will affect people. So then what am I supposed to do? Release something that offends me just to satisfy those who want to play it? Or do I take the time and effort to really craft something that everyone can enjoy? The answer is obvious to me. But I think I have the solution. This is the part most of you won't like. I'm going to release the mature version of the game by itself in sections, not as part of the timeline, not as part of the lore.
We'll pick it apart probably.
Man, this fate.
And not as part of the story, but just because I promised that I would. I promised a game, and I don't want to be one of those developers who endlessly delays their game's release. I'm going to release the game in chapters. However, not the whole game at once, since it puts a strain on the servers over at GameJolt.
It actually looked like Scott Cawthon was concerned about how dark he made Sister Location. He even went so far as to flag the game that he posted on GameJolt as mature, prompting you to click continue before you can see the game page. A lot of people in the community weren't buying it because of Scott's trolling history, but one of the best moments in the history of FNAF comes from 2 people who did buy it.
So, I mean, so this is legit.
Okay.
Like, this came from Scott on Steam.
Let's do it.
This is from his official account, so here it is.
This is the disclaimer.
Yeah, this might be a mature stream.
This might be a really mature stream. We just have no idea.
What
Literally,
we're getting into.
Jason has not previewed it.
I'm digging the music.
Yeah, let's do this, man.
And legitimately, I've been excited about Sister Location, you know, because this was a year in the making. So this is the mature version of Sister Location. The real version won't be coming out for another 2 months, so here it is. This is
Troll watch.
Okay, so the new... Yeah, cool. All right.
Are you kidding me? Are you ever?
Bruh.
Oh, it was a troll?
Are you
It was a troll the whole time?
Are you kidding me?
Oh, we got
Are
trolled.
you kidding me?
This is the equivalent of getting rickrolled on the
Are
internet.
you kidding?
They were so good. They were
Damn
so
it!
Yo,
good.
can y'all
The
like
chat
play the
warned us.
game? I want to. What is the
They
game?
did such a good job. I'm so proud of whoever this troll is. They did like so amazing.
No, this
wow.
is Scott. This is Scott. You're proud of effing Scott Coffin for damn it!
That is one of my favorite clips in the history of FNAF, but jokes aside, it really did show how much MatPat cared about the games and was so excited for the new game to come out. They just unfortunately fell victim to one of Scott's many trolls. On October 7th, 2016, the real FNAF Sister Location was officially released. The community fell in love with the game, despite it leaving us with more questions than answers yet again. The game led you through Circus Baby's entertainment and rental while you had the night shift as a technician. You were being guided by Hand Unit, a talking portable keypad. Once again, this is not a lore video, but the game did tell a pretty compelling story that you had to research for days after the game to fully understand, but it was compelling nonetheless. The game had great voice acting, great jump scares, and even a great twist. The game quickly became a lot of people's favorites in the franchise. Here's a quick speed round. On October 17th, Scott announced that he was making a new custom night for Sister Location. He announced this with a teaser on Scott Games and a post on Steam. He stated that the update would be free and not canon to the main game. On October 22nd, Scott announced that FNAF The Silver Eyes was a #1 New York Times bestseller, thanking the community. On October 30th, MatPat released his new Sister Location theory, and Scott commented on it on Steam, saying that regardless of what people may agree with or disagree with about the theory itself, I think this was one of his best videos. It was well made, it was entertaining, and he really did find some things that no one else had found yet. Fast forward to November 27th, 2016, when we got a new teaser and release date for the Sister Location custom night. It was slated to release December 1st, which was literally a few days away. Then, on December 1st, Sister Location's custom night arrived. The custom night was in the style of all the FNAF games that came before it, but of course it had its own special twists. The update wasn't as big of a deal as a mainline FNAF release, but people still seemed to really like the update. And as much as Scott said the custom night would not be canon, if you got far enough in the game, you would unlock one of the most canon cutscenes in all of FNAF. 2017. On January 17th, 2017, Scott posted a new teaser on FNAFworld.com announcing that an iOS and Android port of the game was coming soon. FNAF World ended up releasing on Android for 1 day before it was pulled from the App Store. FNAF World was then never released on iOS. The mobile port of FNAF World seemed to be a stripped-down version of the PC game and got a lot of backlash. Scott responded to someone on Reddit and said, "Guys, I'm sorry, I promise I will never touch this game again. I thought I was doing a good thing, but it was obviously a bad idea." After that, we would never receive any future news or updates about FNAF World ever again. After the release of Sister Location's custom night, the community still had the movie to look forward to. On January 31st, 2017, Scott posted an update about the FNAF movie on Steam, saying that the FNAF movie was met with several delays and roadblocks, and as a result, the movie was back at square one. This was not the update we were expecting, since it's been almost 2 years since the movie was announced at this point. But Scott reassured everyone that this was a good thing because he was going to be involved with the movie from day one this time, implying that maybe the studio started making changes to the movie that Scott didn't fully agree with. 2 months later, Scott posted his first and last ever tweet. The tweet featured a photo of a director's chair with Freddy's name on it, along with Blumhouse Productions in the background. This was pretty good news because Blumhouse is known for making some pretty good horror movies, so FNAF was officially in good hands. ScottGames.com went dark on January 7th and remained that way for over 6 months, the longest period of time without a Scott Games update since FNAF began. The silence ended when a new teaser was posted on Scott Games and FNAFworld.com on June 11th, 2017. On FNAFworld.com, all you could see was eyeballs, similar to babies, but not exactly. No one had any idea what these were teasing. Could there actually be a FNAF 6? The teaser on Scott Games was to promote the newest FNAF book, Five Nights at Freddy's: The Twisted Ones. Scott would then update Scott Games throughout the month of June with new teasers for the book leading up to its release on June 27th, 2017. On June 30th, Scott released a long post on Steam with some major updates. He announced that he's been working on a new game, possibly FNAF 6, and that he needs to take a break from the development of the game. He goes on to say that he's a bit burnt out and the expectations to keep making the games better and better have got to him. He said that he was just taking a break and that he'll be back eventually. He then announces that a VR game is on the way and that the FNAF movie is now in safe hands with Blumhouse. He ends the post saying that he hopes we can understand and respect his decision. Most of the community was happy Scott was taking a break since he was working non-stop since 2014, but others in the community did not really like this post and actually thought that he might be trolling. This led to Scott editing his post saying that he'd rather just say the new game is canceled rather than leaving everyone on hold indefinitely. He also said that he wants to make something more lighthearted to help him relax, and that it would be free. The next time we got an update on ScottGames.com was for FNAF's 3rd anniversary on August 8th, 2017. Scott, for the 2nd year in a row, showed us some behind-the-scenes images of him working on the past FNAF games, but this time something was off. Out of the 9 images we got, 3 of them seemed to feature parts of some animatronics that we've never seen before. Maybe Scott was done with his break, or maybe these were just nothing. The community wasn't really sure at the time. The last teaser we got on the anniversary was of the Freddy plushie from FNAF 4. Nothing when you brighten it up, and nothing notable in the source code. 10 days later on August 18th, 2017, this image dropped on ScottGames.com. The image was of the FNAF 2 8-bit Freddy with a rainbow following him. Because it was the FNAF 2 Freddy, people were speculating that Scott was trying to hint that the new game would take place during that era. 2 months later, on October 28th, 2017, the 8-bit Freddy teaser was updated to feature 3 kids standing around him. That's it. What? On November 8th, 2017, the image changed to Freddy juggling some pizzas around. Still, the community had no idea what Scott was up to. Meanwhile, on FNAFworld.com, the eyes that showed up a while ago have now closed. We ended up getting an update from Scott 18 days later on November 26th, where he said that he was going to make an announcement about a new cast/crew member on the movie, but it wasn't fully set in stone, so he didn't want to. He also said that he refused to let a full year go by without a new FNAF game, so he's whipping up something fun for us for the holidays. We would soon learn what that was on December 1st, 2017, when Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria Simulator was announced on Scott Games. It looked like this was going to be a fun 8-bit styled game from Scott, but some of the community had their doubts and maybe their expectations a little too high. A lot of people thought they were literally getting FNAF 6, but it looks like Scott wasn't trolling this time. On December 3rd, we got another teaser with a countdown to the game. 2 days left. The next day, 1 day left. And on that day, December 4th, 2017, Scott took to Steam to apologize to the community. He saw their response to the teasers and was sorry if he may have overhyped the game. He reassured the community that this was just a fun game and nothing big at all. He ended by saying that he was just going to release the game today instead of tomorrow, so the game released. And this is what happened.
What the? What the What the frick? The
Bro,
frick going on?
Your game is glitched. What just? Oh, that's a he trolled y'all.
The biggest memory, of course, is when we thought we were just playing a little 8-bit sprite game, feeding pizzas to kids, right? And then the game glitched, and then bam, Scrap Baby on the interview table with the tape with Henry. Oh my god. If you guys have seen my reaction to that, that's my best memory. Being trolled by Scott and getting a full game, completely free by the way. It was completely free. Seeing Scrap Baby in the interview room. 10 out of 10. Best memory, hands down.
Scott's fun little game for the holidays ended up being FNAF 6. Scott successfully trolled the community once again. The game was partly a pizzeria simulator and partly a full-on FNAF game. People loved the pizzeria simulator part of the game where you could make money and spend it on upgrading your pizzeria. You could also play some of the mini games that you bought, which actually led us to some of the biggest lore bits we've ever gotten. Each night of the game, you were offered a new animatronic to either throw away or keep. If you kept it, you would have to deal with fending it off once you entered the FNAF part of the game. If you collected all the animatronics and successfully made it to 6 AM, you unlocked one of the best cutscenes in any FNAF game ever.
Connection terminated. I'm sorry to interrupt you, Elizabeth. If you still even remember that name.
This game was a joy, and the fanbase loved it, especially that ending cutscene. The game gave us a lot of answers to the lore, which is something that fans really have been wanting, but it also left a lot of questions on the table. But in Scott's own words, some things are best left forgotten for now. After the release of Pizzeria Simulator, we didn't really hear much from Scott until February 12th, 2018, when he announced that Chris Columbus would be writing, directing, and producing the FNAF movie. 4 days later, on February 16th, 2018, Scott gave another update on Steam titled Future of FNAF Games and Update Ideas. In the post, he said that he's had a lot of good opportunities come and go, mostly because he wanted to finish off the series himself. He was happy with the state of the franchise and how he ended Pizzeria Simulator, and announced that if there was going to be another major FNAF game, he wouldn't be the one making it. Some people say that this was the actual moment that Scott retired, but he wasn't done quite yet. He had ideas for an update to Pizzeria Simulator, which featured an ultimate custom night with a lot more characters added to the game. The community responded well to this news, so he edited the post saying he's going to begin work on Ultimate Custom Night and to keep an eye on Scott Games to see his progress. And boy, did he update Scott Games. A lot. 2 days later, on February 18th, 2018, Scott updated Scott Games for the first time with 40 blank boxes, which meant there were going to be 40 animatronics in Ultimate Custom Night. After this point, Scott uploaded over 65 new teasers to Scott Games in the span of 4 months. So I hope you'll forgive me for not going over every teaser and telling you the exact day that they released. Over time, the list grew to over 50 animatronics, with Scott updating a Steam post frequently with every animatronic and their exact gameplay mechanics. On May 10th, 2018, Dawko uploaded a YouTube video to his channel. Nothing unusual there, he posts mostly every day, until you clicked on it.
What the?
Is this a message to Scott? Scott, I'm giving you 24 hours.
Dang! He just threw him. Everybody is dipping. He's dead.
In the video, Dawko pretended to take 4 people hostage and demanded that Scott make 50-20 mode easier. Dawko did this because he had been trying to make a bet with Scott. If he can beat 50-20 mode in Ultimate Custom Night, Scott has to do an interview with him on his channel. After Dawko posted this video, Scott actually responded via a YouTube comment and a Steam post, saying that the bet is on, but if Dawko gives up on 50-20 mode, he has to make a FNAF fan game called FNAF 7. Dawko was now more determined than ever to beat 50-20 mode and get that interview. While all of this was going on, we got the final installment in the FNAF book trilogy, FNAF The Fourth Closet, on June 26, 2018. The next day, on June 27th, Ultimate Custom Night was released for free on Steam, and the race to beat 50-20 mode was on. In the meantime, the game featured more lore than we were expecting, with every single character in the game having voice acting and different cutscenes after progressing in the game. A lot of the voice lines were lore heavy, but some of them were interesting. Cue Mr. Hippo. If you died to this animatronic in the game, he would not only jump scare you, but he would then tell you an over 3.5 minute long story that had absolutely nothing to do with the lore, and it was awesome.
Oh yeah, I'm not turning him on when we play
My friend, you have met a terrible, terrible demise. But, you know, I don't feel too bad
we're not
it.
turning him on.
After all, if it weren't from me, it would have just been from someone else, you know? I guess what I'm trying to say.
Over on GT Live, MatPet was trying to pick apart the lore of the game, curious about the anime-styled cutscenes featured as you progressed.
Hey, what?
What is Japanese Five Nights at Freddy's? What? Anime? What?
The cutscenes were silly.
I don't know, bro.
That's it, they were just silly. Overall, people loved Ultimate Custom Night. It's one of the highest rated FNAF games on Steam with an overwhelming positive score from reviewers. The game was a success and the community was happy. Oh, where was Dawko?
Oh, we beat it? We beat it! Nice.
Oh my god! Are you kidding me? Oh my...
Ultimate Custom Night. I think you already know what my favourite memory is. Right.
Dawko ended up beating 50-20 mode with a reaction that became one of the biggest memes in the franchise to this day. Dawko officially won an interview with Scott Cawthon, the first and only audio interview that he would ever do. Dawko was surprisingly not the first one to complete 50-20 mode. A YouTuber by the name of REMBER completed it a day before Dawko on July 8th, 2018, officially becoming, we think, the first ever person to beat 50-20 mode. REMBER was then followed by Dawko on July 9th and DJ Sturf on July 10th. The community rallied together to try and get this done, with DJ uploading tutorials on how to more effectively beat 50-20.
Seeing Dawko cross the finish line was one of my favorite memories from the entire series, though. Not too long before Ultimate Custom Night came out, Dawko was in the hospital with a collapsed lung, and I wanted to be sure that he didn't go back to the hospital, so I guess mission accomplished on that one. Previously, Dawko didn't have much of a history of finishing the hardest modes, and I mean, I've always seen him as more of the face of the franchise, and he's very personable, and you know, he's great with the community, so yeah, that's more of what he focused on, and he's kind of like a stress light type player by nature, but He's very capable of beating the hardest modes.
On July 9th, Scott congratulated all of the people who have completed 50/20 mode, including Remery, Dawko, and DJ Stir. The interview was posted on August 8th, 2018, and was a joy to watch. Dawko asked some great questions, and Scott gave some great answers. It was really cool to hear the voice of someone who has made such a big impact on so many people's lives. The interview's a great watch, and I recommend going to check it out after this video. I got a lot of information for this video out of that interview, actually. On August 19th, Scott made a long Steam post about all of the upcoming projects planned related to FNAF. First, he talked about a movie and how he already had a few scripts written. He announced that the story would be based around the first game and that the possible second movie would be based on the second game. Secondly, he said that the VR game is coming along well and that he was creeped out by the demo Steel Studios sent him. Steel Studios is a small game studio based out of California who were set to make the first official FNAF VR game. Scott said that a FNAF AR game is also coming, but it's in its infancy. Lastly, he mentioned that he would like to make a game just for fun for the community, along the same lines as Update 2 for FNAF World. There were a lot of projects coming, and the community was super hyped about the future of FNAF. ScottGames.com stayed dark for nearly 8 months until it was updated on March 11th, 2019. A new teaser dropped for the FNAF VR game that Scott was teasing, including some hidden teasers in the source code. The main teaser featured brand new models of some of the animatronics we knew and loved, all mushed together with the words "everything is working as intended" in the top left. The teaser featured some hidden text that directly connected back to the lore of the main games, including "Remember Jeremy," so it was looking like the VR game was going to be canon.
What?
Back to the lore of the main games, including Remember Jeremy, so it was looking like the VR game was going to be canon. One problem occurred with this new teaser, though. It seemed that Steel will either unknowingly or knowingly use the likeness of some fan models in the teaser. Scott went to Reddit and announced that he has taken down the teaser and plans to think about where to go from here. On March 25th, 2019, the trailer for FNAF VR Help Wanted was officially released, and it looked awesome. The trailer was short and kind of scattered, but it showed us some really cool gameplay that looked like it would be terrifying in VR. We got the official release date for Help Wanted on April 19th, 2019. The game was set to be released on May 21st, 2019. Fast forward to May 16th, and FNAF VR has officially been delayed, but not for long. The release date was pushed 1 week to May 28th, just so the studio could polish the game a little bit. Most of the community was accepting of this news, considering that Steel Studios was trying to make the game the best it could be. On May 20th, 2019, Scott sent a few select YouTubers an early copy of FNAF VR, encouraging them to notify him of any glitches. At the time, they took that comment at face value, but knowing what we know now, he was memeing. Pretty soon, the YouTubers and their audiences were being brought on a new journey through the FNAF universe. A journey that slowly started connecting to the canon of the main lore. The game featured FNAF 1 through 4 with some newly created minigames crafted by Steel Studios. It's funny because the minigames, not the actual FNAF games, became most people's favorite part of the game. In the game, Scott Cawthon became canon, the actual FNAF games themselves became canon, and being able to download your consciousness into a video game became canon. Yeah, don't look for answers from me in this video. The game introduced a new but familiar villain, Glitchtrap, who was William Afton, the purple guy, but in digital form. The game eventually released to the public on May 28th, 2019, and even though it was a bit buggy at first, it ended up being a solid entry to the franchise. Steel Studios seemed to be the chosen ones to continue the FNAF lore. Next up was the day that started it all, the beginning of the end, or the beginning of what would be the current day. On FNAF's 5th anniversary, Scott released this teaser on Scott Games, announcing a brand new game that seemed to be set in a mall with brand new animatronics coming in 2020. This was really exciting news because other than the VR game, the community hasn't gotten a proper FNAF game since Pizzeria Simulator back in 2017. The same day, FNAFworld.com was updated with a new image as well, and it was the number 58. When you brighten the image, you could see some made-up quotes making fun of the idea of this new game, saying things like probably the worst idea he's ever had and stopped caring after Dream Theory. People started piecing together that in FNAF World Update 2, there was a minigame titled Freddy in Space 57, so it looked like we were getting a sequel to that game.
Scott's much more go with the flow, but he's also kind of in turbo mode sometimes. I think it was 10 days before the St. Jude charity stream with Freddy in Space 2 that Scott sent me the first email saying, "Hey, can you test this?" And I was like, yeah? And I was thinking, well, how much time? Like, that's going to be very, very, very fast. But the nice part was, with that one in particular, with Freddy in Space 2, it was right around Thanksgiving, and I had several days that I could take off and I needed to take off of work. So I did, and I had a lot of time to devote to that. So it was a bunch of time in a big chunk there all at once, trying to get as many builds and cycles done as possible. I tested the N-1 build, and then when the stream was going on and I saw the version number was one above the one that I tested, I was like, oh no, like, oh no.
On September 13th, 2019, the first trailer for the AR game that Scott teased a while ago was released, and it featured none other than Markiplier. Markiplier was now canon to the FNAF universe. The teaser was awesome and people were really hyped about the game. On September 29th, 2019, FNAFworld.com was updated with FNAFworld.com was updated with the official announcement for Freddy in Space 2. On the same day, ScottGames.com was updated with a new teaser for Steelwool Studios' upcoming game. It was a closer look at what Freddy would look like in the game. There was nothing much to say about it except that it looked like the game was going to be 80s style. On October 11th, 2019, Steelwool Studios released the official trailer for some Help Wanted DLC. The DLC was Halloween themed and would be called Curse of Dreadbear. The trailer was short and mostly cinematic, but it looked to be a fun update to Help Wanted, and the community couldn't wait to see what Steelwool Studio had in store as far as gameplay and the lore. 12 days later, on October 23rd, FNAF VR Curse of Dreadbear was released. The game was an instant hit. It looked like Steelwool took what people loved the most from Help Wanted and expanded on it in the DLC. The minigames were so creative and people loved the most from Help Wanted and expanded on it in the DLC. The minigames were so creative and people really had a good time playing them. The game also expanded on the lore from Help Wanted. At the end of the Corn Maze minigame, we got to see a creepy bunny mask hidden in the cellar. You could then use this mask to unlock some secret dialogue at the prize counter. The dialogue hinted that someone was being controlled by Glitch Trap and was set to carry on the legacy that William started when he was fully alive. On November 5th, 2019, ScottGames.com was updated with the same Freddy teaser we saw before, but this time you could see the silhouette of the bunny mask lady we saw in Curse of Dreadbear. It looked like Steelwool Studios was setting up the next villain in the FNAF franchise. On November 16th, it was announced that MatPat was doing a big charity stream for St. Jude and it was going to feature Dawko, Markiplier, and some other cool creators. He didn't know it yet, but Dawko was being flown out to play Freddy in Space 2 with MatPat and Mark, but the game was going to be programmed where the farther you got in the game, the more money Scott would donate to the stream, and the cap was $500,000. The stream is going to be live on December 3rd, 2019. Fast forward 9 days to November 25th, 2019, and FNAF AR was officially released. FNAF AR brought some of the animatronics from FNAF home with you. Using AR technology, you could literally fight off animatronics that were invading your home. FNAF AR received several updates over time, adding new characters and skins of the classic animatronics such as Liberty Chica and Toxic Springtrap. A lot of the YouTubers checked out the game and really enjoyed playing it. Overall, at the time, the game had a good reception from the community. On November 30th, Scott Cawthon posted the official trailer for Freddy in Space 2. In the trailer, he promoted the Game Theory charity stream on December 3rd and showed a bunch of gameplay from the new game. Scott ended up dedicating Freddy in Space 2 to Skylar Jin, a YouTuber who loved FNAF and sadly passed away on October 26, 2019 due to cancer at the age of 12. The Game Theory charity stream ended up being a success. Mark, MatPat, and Dawko ended up winning the whole $500,000 from Scott's game and collectively raised over $1.3 million for St. Jude. On December 17th, to cap off the year, Steelwool Studios announced their Christmas update to FNAF VR, which ended up being mostly fun cosmetic changes to the game, but also featured a big teaser for their upcoming game that's been teased on Scott Games. In the update, you could actually choose to walk outside of the building. Once outside, you could see a giant mall being built in the distance, which was presumably the mall we were seeing in the Scott Games teasers. It's important for me to say that during this time, a new FNAF book series was being released called Fazbear Frights. The first book was released on December 26, 2019. They were books with 3 individual stories based on the Five Nights at Freddy's franchise. These stories were not directly tied to the games, but they did help answer some questions from the lore. Once again, this is not a FNAF lore video, but I just thought I'd mention that. Our next teaser from the new game came on March 24th, 2020. The teaser featured a brand new animatronic in the form of an alligator. When you saved the image, it saved as Montgomery. This was our first official look at Monty. The next teaser for the new game came on May 5th, 2020, and it revealed the official title and logo for the game, Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach. At this point, there were a ton of new leaks happening, with a calendar featuring the models of the new animatronics on the front, and Funko leaking their new Security Breach figures. So everyone already knew the title, but it was nice to see it in HD on Scott Games. On June 11th, 2020, we got our next teaser for Security Breach. This time, it featured a security guard with long blonde hair and green eyes. The teaser had the word protect in purple at the bottom. A lot of people assumed that this was going to be the person helping us in Security Breach. On August 7th, 2020, we got our first look at Vanny, the bunny from FNAF VR Curse of Dreadbear. You can see the full homemade suit and a giant knife being held in her right hand. She also is surrounded by TVs, just like when Freddy was surrounded with TVs in the trailer for Help Wanted. The word obey is at the bottom of the teaser, which confirmed that this was the same person from Curse of Dreadbear. We got 2 more teasers for Security Breach the next day on FNAF's 6th anniversary. They were a similar style as the Freddy poster, but now with Roxanne and Chica. 14 days later, on August 21st, 2020, Scott Cawthon took to Reddit to announce something huge. In the Reddit post, he announced something called the Fazbear Fanverse Initiative. With this initiative, Scott was going to be personally funding a select few of the most popular FNAF fan games, including One Night at Flumpty's, Five Nights at personally fund post, he announced something called the FazBear Fanverse Initiative. With this initiative, Scott was going to be personally funding a select few of the most popular FNAF fan games, including One Night at Flumpty's, Five Nights at Candy's, The Joy of Creation, Pop Goes, and a new game by Fiznom called FNAF Plus. This was an amazing moment for the community and the gaming world in general. The creator of one of the most popular indie games ever is personally funding a handful of fan games and letting them be a part of the FNAF multiverse. This was unheard of and a very welcome surprise to the community. If you want to learn more about that, I have a video on my channel called Why You Should Be Excited About the FazBear Fanverse. I recommend you go check it out. Then, on September 16th, 2020, the entirety of the FNAF community lost their mind when this trailer was shown during the PlayStation State of Play event.
What's out there? This is not FNAF. That's not FNAF.
It's been such a difficult day for
No.
all.
Oh, I know.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh no! Oh my god! Oh!
People could not believe how good the game looked. Daco didn't even recognize it was a FNAF game until halfway through. I also remember losing my mind at this trailer and thinking about how far FNAF has come over the years, or for you, the beginning of this video. This was a giant moment for FNAF, and I'd say one of the biggest in FNAF's history. On November 17th, 2020, Security Breach got delayed for the first time. Scott went to Reddit to announce that the game would now be coming out in 2021 and not 2020. He explained that the game got way too big and they just need more time to finish it. He said it could have been out by Christmas, but they would have to cut content and he wasn't willing to do that. The community responded well to this because the game already looked so good and they wanted it to be the best game possible. 3 days later, that bad news was overshadowed by some great news about the FNAF movie. On November 20th, Scott made a long Reddit post titled Bad News About the FNAF Movie. In this post, he went through a bunch of failed script ideas for the FNAF movie, including one called Plushies Take Manhattan. The post ended with a script called Mike, referring to Michael Afton, which was William Afton, the purple guy's son. This ended up being the screenplay they chose, and he announced that they are going to start filming in spring of 2021. This was giant news for the FNAF community because
the guy in the movie, that's Michael Afton or whatever.
because this movie has been on and off since April of 2014. So it was so nice to finally have some good news about the project. In January of 2021, it was announced that Steelwool Studios was going to be attending an NVIDIA event where they would show progress on Security Breach. This was a public event, but you would have to sign up for it in order to watch it. People were hyped to see some new content from the game despite it being delayed 2 months prior. The event happened on January 12th, 2021, and it was in the style of a PlayStation State of Play event. The trailer featured some slow pans of some familiar and some new areas of the mall we haven't seen yet. A fair amount of the community was confused / unsatisfied with what we got, some saying that the game looked nothing like what we got in the first teaser trailer. Scott saw this reception and went to Reddit to clarify that the new footage was meant to just be a tech demo showing off new parts of the mall and that an actual trailer 2 would be coming out in March. And the trailer actually came sooner than that, on February 25th, 2021, once again during the PlayStation State of Play. The trailer once again blew everyone away, showing us new gameplay and cinematic shots from the game. We got our first look at the 3D models for the 4 main animatronics, the new Sun and Moon animatronics, and Vanny. The trailer ended with the hand of a mystery animatronic. The hand looked extremely similar to a nightmare animatronic, but not 100%. Some people thought that the hand might actually belong to William Afton, brought back from the dead and into his physical form once more. On April 28th, 2021, Scott once again went to Reddit to announce that Security Breach was being delayed. He said the game would be moved from early 2021 to late 2021 and explained that it would be worth it. Scott went on to say, "I know it's disappointing, but I didn't want you all to walk away empty-handed, so I made something for the community," with a link to a game called Security Breach Fury's Rage. The main gameplay was basically a FNAF Street Fighter game featuring the main 4 animatronics from Security Breach and some weird enemies, some that we've seen from FNAF AR and some brand new. The community loved this game from Scott and couldn't wait for Security Breach because it was looking to be the biggest FNAF game yet. In June 2021, after some information about Scott's political donations went viral on Twitter, he decided it was best for him to officially retire from game development. In his final Scott Games update, he announced that someone else would be taking up the mantle for him in the future and that he wanted to go back to making games for his kids and taking care of his family. On FNAF's 7th anniversary, August 8th, 2021, we got another piece of artwork from Steelwool Studios, Daco's brand Hex announcing that they were making their own FNAF plushies, and we got a 13-minute long short film for FNAF Plus, one of the games in the FazBear Fanverse Initiative. This short film was an incredible cinematic look at what we'd be getting in the FNAF 1 remake / reimagining. On September 1st, 2021, Steelwool Studios Studios suspiciously tweeted that their website was down and that it'd be back up soon. Once it was back up, a link to a separate website called securitybreachtv.com was added. The website looked to be the new hub for FNAF Security Breach teasers, featuring a FNAF-styled office with a giant screen in the middle. 6 days later, on September 7th, 2021, securitybreachtv.com updated and now featured a video that you could activate by pushing that Freddy button on the desk. The video was a Hanna-Barbera-themed cartoon featuring Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, and Foxy. The cartoon showed the characters going on a road trip in a pizza delivery service van, only to be confronted by Foxy along the way. Foxy ends up getting revealed to be an animatronic, while the other characters are in shock. The video ends with a slithering thing going across the screen and a small teaser for a release date below the Security Breach logo. Security Breach's marketing was now in full swing. Steelwool would release 3 more of these videos over the next 6 weeks, each teasing a new character in the upcoming game. These videos all led to the final trailer being revealed at the PlayStation State of Play event on October 27th. This final trailer was miles beyond what anyone was expecting from the game. It featured cutscenes that had incredible animation, gameplay that looked great for the most part, and the official release date, December 16th, 2021. But most importantly of all, it featured
Music Man!
People were more hyped than ever for the game. It looked like this game was going to change FNAF forever. 3 days after the trailer, on October 30th, 2021, Dawko held a charity livestream where Steelwool Studios sent him some new teasers for Security Breach to reveal when new donation goals were hit. These teasers included posters from the game, most notably some Fredbear's Family Diner posters. This made everyone curious about how the first ever FNAF pizzeria would play a role in the game. Also, during the charity stream, the first game from the Fazbear Fanverse initiative, One Night at Flumpty's 3, was released. Dawko then played it live on stream. And a few days before the game came out, Dawko actually got to interview Steelwool Studios on his YouTube channel on December 12th, 2021. On December 16th, 2021, Security Breach was finally released and the game was huge. The game ended up being bigger than any of us were expecting. The game starts with a cutscene that we saw pieces of in the trailer. The cutscene ended with Freddy glitching out and falling on stage. He then wakes up in his green room with Gregory inside his stomach hatch. Thus begins
hold on. We get spoiled right now.
Stream on the Game Theorist channel with a few other YouTubers including Dawko, Tetrabit Gaming, Tom and Dan from Game Theory, Super Horror Bro, Bandit Games, and me. During the stream, we discussed our theories about what the heck happened in...
Hold on. I'm not even gonna... Whoa! Hold on, wait.
Birthed a bunch of new memes that blew up all over TikTok and some amazing cosplay from the community. After a few months, Steelwool Studios started making updates to the game, adding features that were meant to be there on launch and fixing a bunch of the bugs. And here we are today. The FNAF movie never ended up filming in spring of 2021, but Jason Blum is continually reassuring us on Twitter that it's still coming. FNAF is getting its own pizza delivery service. There are over 25 FNAF books at this point, with a new series called Tales from the Pizzaplex currently being released. The Fazbear Fanverse initiative is still in full swing with the recent release of Pop Goes Arcade on Steam. Dawko is creating his own line of FNAF plushies with his brand Hex. The Living Tombstone released their first FNAF song in years with This Comes From Inside. And Steelwool Studios officially announced free DLC for Security Breach coming out in 2023. FNAF started as Scott's final project before giving up game development for good. He took the bad reviews he was getting and ran with them, creating one of the biggest game franchises in the world. And 8 years later, it's still going strong. This was the entire history of Five Nights at Freddy's. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for that amazing video. Alright guys, I hope y'all enjoyed that video. I'm kind of tired. Yeah, I recorded all this in the same day. It's currently 12 o'clock right now. I am tired. Yeah, I guess I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.